Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Special Forces World's Toughest Test. It's the world's toughest recap, and your staff is back. I'm Rob Cesternino, and I'm back here with Jenny Autumn. Jenny, how are you?
I'm fired up. And you know what, Rob?
Yeah?
I need to go to the bathroom. Will you follow me?
Yes. Oh, my God. Boy, we really got like a profile in Anthony Scaramucci here tonight.
Oh my goodness.
We know more
Like,
about
we
the
went,
mooch than we ever needed to.
it was purple mooch up until this point, and we got this was really his coming out party on
Yeah.
Special Forces tonight.
A
So
real
and it
profiling courage. Yeah.
yes. Yes. Yeah, it was an inspiring tale of mooch tonight, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. We got a lot of Scaramucci. We lost another one of our special forces in Beverly Mitchell.
The Bevster.
Yeah.
Man,
So
I'm impressed she made it as long as she did. She always had this look on her face like she was in pain. Like emotional, spiritual, physical. Like she just has a pained expression. I don't know if that's just her face. But I just felt terrible for her the entire time. So honestly, this was kind of like relieving for me that she finally left, because I was like, just go home. You don't need to prove yourself any longer. Just free yourself of this.
yeah, so she is free. She's no
Yep.
longer part of the special forces. So we Beverly Mitchell, we barely knew you, but she does have a bit of a profile here tonight, so we'll talk about that and everything else that our special forces recruits went through. Jenny, how are you doing? Better than the mooch?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm still recovering from our visit to the MILF Manor over the weekend.
Oh, okay. You can check that podcast out.
If you haven't.
Fox missed the boat on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, that was truly the world's toughest test. Was just watching that hour of television, and then I mean, I had a great time recapping that with you. So
People said one of the best podcasts ever.
Wow. I mean, probably the most I've ever laughed on a podcast, like easily. So
do you think that
it was fun for me.
Any of the moms from MILF Manor will be on Special Forces World's Toughest Test 2?
I would love see, the guys aren't young enough, because I was gonna say, like, I would love to see Kelly
People
flirting
don't know
with these men.
These moms you're talking about, who they are.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if Kelly, the star of MILF Manor, you don't know who she
the
is,
lady of the manor,
yes, Miss Manor herself. I would love to see the interactions of these women with our staff here, but like, they're all too old for the MILFs. They like the younger men. I mean, I don't know the ages of these men, but they're definitely like not young. Like, they're not like 20.
I don't know who the youngest guy is that was on the show. Maybe Dr. Drew. No.
Well, I was thinking about that tonight too, because whenever like they show us the ages of people, I'm reminded of like how, like, imagine being in your 50s and choosing to do this. Like, I'm in my 30s.
For no reason. Also, we don't really know if there's a prize or anything.
To test themselves, Rob. Yeah, it's the world's toughest test.
So I think the youngest person is probably either Danny Amendola or Gus.
Or like Hannah Brown, maybe.
Yes,
they're all
of the men. Yeah.
Of the men. Yeah, like I think what's her name? Carly Lloyd. She's like 30, maybe 30. I don't know.
Okay.
I just feel like it's such a physical. It's very physical, and I just think that this is a lot to put on somebody, especially if you are, in your 50s and you're not like still physically active. Like, you're not a present athlete. Like, you're not still an athlete in present day. Like, everyone on the show is at least a retired athlete or has never done professional sports whatsoever. And
Mhm.
like they're all at least 30 or older. Like there's no one with
So Gus,
young
I think,
fresh
is
bodies.
is just 31, it looks like.
Yeah. I don't I still don't get it. It
Mhm.
seems terrible.
Yeah.
And they're so mean. There was so many instances in tonight's episode where I think I just wrote in my notes, they are so mean. I would be Beverly Mitchell on this show, honestly. No, I wouldn't have even I would have been Jamie Lynn Spears, it like, the
Yeah.
quit a couple minutes into an episode, but it wasn't the third episode. It was the first one. Like, I'm
Mhm.
just like,
Yeah.
yeah, no, you're yelling at me. I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need this.
Like,
So,
Kate from John and Kate Plus 8.
yes, exactly.
Mhm.
I just don't even think I would get that far. I think as soon as a man yelled at me, I would be, smoking a cigarette outside, and I don't even smoke. I just be
Mhm.
like, "Get me the hell out of here. Here's my
Mhm.
number.
Yeah.
Don't even put it on me."
Would you be smoking because you would try to get sort of, like, thrown out for having
Ooh.
contraband?
Um, yeah, I would just anything to get me out of here. It's like,
Mhm. I'm a
I
celebrity,
wouldn't
get me out of here.
but I also wouldn't care about quitting. But also,
Mhm.
I would never agree like, I don't care about testing myself.
Yeah. But the people
I'm
might have been
challenged
tricked.
enough,
That is
okay?
possible.
Yeah, like, I get challenged every day, with just existence. So, I don't need to put myself under these circumstances to prove anything to myself.
Mhm.
That's fine.
Okay. Well, let's
No
talk a
offense to
little
anyone who
bit.
does.
Yeah. Let's
Yeah.
talk a little bit, Jenny, about what was going on with the recruits
Yes.
in this episode. We saw a lot of Scaramucci. It seemed like that Scaramucci and Piazza
Oh
have
my
a
gosh.
special bond.
Yes. I mean, find you someone who supports you like Mike
It's a good
Piazza
teammate.
supports Anthony Scaramucci, because we start this episode off with Mooch announcing, "Gotta shit."
Yeah.
This is a direct quote.
And
And,
yeah, Mike Piazza's like, oh, I
"Can I
love that
come?"
for you. Yeah.
I mean, I believe that we heard, that, or I think I maybe read this somewhere, someone commented that this is a thing that you need to in these special forces scenarios.
Hmm.
Um, the bathroom situation is a
Buddy system.
group, yeah, which
Yeah.
okay. I
Not
that was
my
the
cup of
last thing.
tea. Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if the offer to come with Mooch was like he has to, because it seemed optional. He's like, "Oh, you want me to come with you?" And it's like,
Hmm.
"No, I don't want you to come with
Yeah, but I
me."
think they've gotten in trouble before for not
For
having a buddy go to the bathroom with them.
like,
Could
what's
be a
gonna happen?
trap.
A bear is gonna come and maul
Yeah, I
them
think
in
so.
the night?
Mhm.
That would
Yeah.
be, like, sweet release for me. Like, get m
Oh my
if
god.
the only way
Oh,
to get out of here is being mauled to death by a bear, so be it.
okay, okay. I thought you were saying that maybe having, like, something, like, scaring you, would help.
Oh, no, the men are scary enough for me.
Mhm.
Uh, they're scarier than the bear to me,
Mhm.
honestly.
Okay. So this episode, Jenny, I believe, is called Trust. It's all
Trust.
about trust, and you don't have to like the special forces, but you do have to be able to trust your fellow special forces.
Yes, this is the big message of the episode is it doesn't matter if you get along. These personalities are going to clash. What's important is that you trust each other. And in these scenarios, you're not going to like people, but you're
Hmm.
going to trust them. And
Yeah.
so that is like the theme of the episode, where we have personality clashes and needing to come together to rely on each other.
Hmm.
Tale as
Yeah.
old as time.
Okay. So they're gonna ask everybody, who's the person that you trust the least? So Dwight Howard goes first, and they hate Dwight Howard.
They do. They This man is trying to find any shred of enjoyment or positivity from this experience. And these four men are like, absolutely not.
No.
Pain and misery is the only thing you can know right now. So they
Hmm.
hate Dwight Howard because Dwight Howard is like seems like a pretty fun guy to me, honestly. Like,
Does not seem like a bad guy in any way.
no,
Dwight Howard says himself that
which
I yeah.
very deep. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's a great statement where he's like, I'm going through this experience to learn how to trust myself, which honestly is kind of the message that a lot of them are saying. But in this particular experiment, they do not want you to say yourself, whether they feel it's
Yeah.
a cop out. They're like, no, you have to. We will come to understand why you can't just say yourself for this particular exercise. But they hated him for this.
They hated him doing that. I think that Dwight Howard was also like, okay, this is day 4. I know that everything here is a trick, and so they're trying to get me to throw somebody's name under the bus. And so this is how I'm going to answer. And this is sort of like when Jeff Probst like thinks you're just giving an answer to not answer the question, and they just reamed him out.
Yeah. They do not like,
Hmm.
they're like, that was pathetic.
Hmm. Yeah.
Like
So
he finally gives them an answer and they're still mad at him. Like, that was
he can't do anything
pathetic.
right. They hate
No.
Dwight Howard.
Yeah.
Okay. A few different people said Scaramucci.
Mhm.
Scaramucci, the person that you trust the least, and understandable.
Shocker. Like, everyone is like, "Oh, let me grasp this low-hanging fruit." Like, this is the easiest answer that you could,
Yeah.
give. You could point
And
to something where like, "I'm not even basing this on the special forces scenario. I
right.
just don't trust this person."
Yeah, that Scaramucci is not really giving off like amazingly like trustworthy guys. They call him like a used car salesman. Like he's
Mhm.
kind of like a fast talking guy. Doesn't really come across as like super genuine, but also in terms of like somebody that you trust to like go to war with. That he seems to be. He uses this word discombobulated at one point in the episode. It seems like that he doesn't know where he's walking a lot of times. He's like walking very slowly. He can't find his pants often. He needs people like to tuck in his shirt. He's sort of like
Yeah.
having like a toddler at
No,
the special
literally.
forces.
Yes, there was like a point where, and he's small too. Like, he's a small man, I think. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe it's just because I'm constantly seeing Dwight Howard, but
Next to him. Yeah.
like, it literally is like, doing up the toddler's snowsuit, like, to like
Hmm.
send them out into the cold. And then he's like, I have to pee. And you're like, oh Jesus. Like,
Come on, Scaramucci. Come
Scaramucci,
on.
we just had
Yeah.
a bathroom break. Like,
Yeah.
he literally feels like the child of the group. And
Look,
isn't
what
he one
what
of
do you
like the
want
oldest
from me?
people?
I gotta pee. I'm
Yeah.
Italian. Come on. Yeah.
Mike
Okay.
Piazza, you understand. Come join me. We're
Piazza, come
going.
on. Yeah, you know how it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So Scaramucci, that his name is getting thrown out there. He says, Gus, did you have a matrix, Jenny, of all the people that didn't trust each other?
I have it.
Yes.
Okay. So Dwight says Dwight first, but then he gets yelled at. He says Mooch. Gus is next. He says Mooch. And Mooch says Gus. And then Mike Piazza says
Hmm.
Beverly. Carly also says Mooch. This
Yep.
one kind of Kenya said Dwight. But I don't
Okay.
really feel like I've really seen them interact, so I was like, what
Yeah.
is this about?"
She's like,
Um,
they hate him. So let me throw out Dwight's name.
well, yeah, maybe she was just yeah, maybe was that
Patronizing.
yeah, or she was just trying to like pander to the staff, being like, they
Yeah.
hate this guy. So
She's
yeah,
like, I
and
know this is the
honestly,
right answer.
I mean, Kenya knows how to work these guys. Like, they love her.
Hmm.
So she knows what they're looking for. And Danny Amendola says Beverly. Hannah
Hmm.
Brown says Mike Piazza. And
Hmm.
then Beverly says Kenya. Because they had Beverly and Kenya had like a little moment at the beginning of the episode. I don't really understand what they were arguing about. It was like something about like how to get ready for when they call you. And they were like
Hmm.
disagree. I really don't understand what it was about, and what anyone
They're
was
not on the
saying.
same page.
Honestly, sometimes they're talking in this show and it could be an entirely different language. I don't know what any of these words are. I don't know what a ruck is. I don't know what a
Well,
Birkin
that's
is,
both of those things are the backpack.
which is like it's confusing because it's
Mhm.
like they're the same thing. Like how do you choose? I've never heard a backpack called that ever. Again, I am constantly telling on
Yeah.
myself in this podcast. I don't know anything about this world.
I
I am
think
very
that both
privileged.
things are the same. That if we have somebody in the audience that can tell us the difference between if there is a difference between the ruck and the Bergen, but I think that they can be used interchangeably.
Okay, because that has been unclear to me. And then there's like other words that they like throw out. The words I understand are the insults.
Yes.
Muppet,
You Muppet. Yeah.
imbecile, I understand those words.
Hmm.
But yeah, sometimes they're talking about how like certain aspects of their like gear and it's gibberish to me. I have no idea what they're talking about. So it seemed like that Beverly and Kenya had some sort of interaction. They're trying to set us up for the fact that like there is some sort of clash between the two of them.
It's
So
coming.
Beverly says Kenya, and then I guess yeah. So I mean, there was a little bit of it wasn't like unanimously Mooch, but he definitely got the
The
most
most.
votes. Yeah,
Yes.
he
Okay.
would have been voted out if this was a vote.
Yeah. And so, okay, he had got the award for least trustworthy. And we've talked about how Beverly is not doing good. She's like falling over, and they're just like screaming at her.
Yeah, she's like walking and is like she falls and she's like whimpering and like I've just never seen anything like this in my life. Like imagine someone falls and like they're in distress and then the reaction to it is you're being pathetic.
You're
And she's like
pathetic.
I'm trying and they're like you're not trying hard enough. Like oh my goodness. Like I
Hmm.
can't believe she didn't quit at this point. This
No.
is early in the episode. She stays basically the whole episode. This was just one interaction. Like
Hmm.
they are terrible to Beverly.
Yeah. But I do think they're trying to make them quit because when she ultimately does like quit, I feel like then they're nice to her when she like gives in her armband.
I nice feels
Yes.
very very generous. Just less terrible is
Less
kind of. So
terrible.
you do you think that that is the thing, Rob? You think that there's a certain element of to prove how tough this is and that not just anyone is cut out for this, they are purposely being like extra rough on some of these people. They want people to quit.
Yes.
Is that's
I
your
think
feeling?
so. Yes.
Because like yeah, it's not like the show should
Yeah.
not be called world's toughest test if everyone just does
Right.
it.
Because if you're one of these special forces and then this show airs and like all your special forces buddies are watching it and then Beverly got through, like I feel like when Remy goes to like the next special forces party, I think they're gonna like give him like some you know what.
Yeah, they're like Beverly Mitchell
Really,
from
dude?
Seventh
Beverly?
Heaven. Yeah,
That
really?
Beverly Mitchell passed your boot camp?
She made it? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good
Mm-hmm.
point. Um,
Pathetic. You
well,
Muppet.
do you think that they have do you think Muppet is a great insult, I will never get over that. Do you think that they have, like, rough ideas of, like, how many people could be left at certain points? Because 'Cause they're like, "No one's making" like, we're do you think that they are expecting that they'll get down to, like, 4 people on the last episode or something?
Yeah, I don't think they'll get down to like one, but I think they know like who should get through and who shouldn't.
Because I feel like certain challenges although I guess we kinda saw this tonight that, like, it's not like with Survivor where they plan, like, the challenges around, like, how many people are left.
No.
It's if there's an uneven amount and they planned on having teams, they're gonna have uneven teams. So they maybe don't have a like firm plan for how many people they expect, but I'm sure that they expected that they would get down to a certain amount of people at some point and they'd weed out the weak.
So we are going to get our activity for our special forces. Remy actually calls it, are you ready for your next Squid Game?
Yeah, which I mean,
Appropriate.
Yeah, I guess. It was almost a kind of meta though. Like Remy just loves the cultural references though. Like he's the one that's
Mhm.
always about like the TikTok and the Instagram. He's like, when do you think this was filmed? Like
Um, well, I guess probably sometime last year. So, like,
when
Squid
was
Game
Squid
came out, like,
Game?
fall 2021, and so, I guess it's probably sometime maybe, like, spring 2022, and
Yeah.
so,
I
"You
just feel
all
like it would
can't wait to
be
get back to your Netflix,
so
you
you can watch
Squid
your Squid
Games."
Game, your Games of
Mhm.
Thrones.
Mhm.
um, I
You
feel like Remy is like the kind of guy that would like call it Games of Thrones. Like he just like does not know anything about it. And he's just like,
Mhm.
this is the thing the kids are talking about on the TikTok. Like
Mhm. And, be binge watching all of your trying to think of what else was, White Locusts.
white locusts. They're gonna unleash the white locusts on them.
Mhm. Okay. Jenny, how did they decide who was going to get dropped from the rope and who was gonna hold the rope? Because I would
Okay.
much rather be the person who was the rope holder.
Yeah, I'm not Beverly, although maybe it's just because she would have been even worse if she had to do the drop. Because I thought that maybe they just weren't showing us all of the drops and that each pairing had to, but then like how does it work when like Mooch got picked by everyone? Because they ended up doing Mooch and
Mhm.
Gus together
Yeah.
because they
But we
picked
didn't
each
see
other.
Mooch holding the rope and Gus falling off the cliff.
Exactly. But then I was like, for time, are they just showing us like the most significant ones?
Maybe.
Anyway, did we even explain what this was? This is terrifying.
Yeah, this was nuts.
So they so this is it's like a trust fall,
Yeah, they
except
love trust falls.
off a freaking cliff.
Yeah.
And the person basically the person your partner is holding a rope that's like keeps you suspended in the
Yep.
air and you free fall down the cliff while they're holding the rope. And then when you fall to a certain point, I guess there's
Mhm.
like a marker on the cliff. I didn't ever saw it because probably because I was panicking the entire time. Even
Yeah.
though I rationally am like, none of these people are going to die because if they died, we would have heard about this.
Yep, that's
Um,
true.
but it was still terrifying and I was very tense watching this. So when they reach a certain point in their fall, the person on the ground pulls the rope, which like suspends them back so that they don't
Mhm.
fall to their death. But like the way this was explained to us is is just as terrifying as it sounds, where they basically said like, the criteria for success is like the safe landing of your teammate, and the criteria of failure might be the death of your teammate. Like
Mhm.
imagine just having them be like, yeah, so if one of you dies, that's a fail and that might happen if you don't pass.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, I guess we'll go climb this cliff. Great time.
And yeah, it didn't really seem like that they explained how you were going to stop the other person with the brakes.
Yeah, because like I felt like we just couldn't see where like how much slack they like what were they pulling on? Wouldn't you just like fly into the air? I don't know. I didn't really
Mhm.
understand the physics of it.
Yeah, I
Um
wonder if it was maybe the rope wasn't long enough that they could die, and that if the person who was supposed to stop them like screwed up, like you couldn't like because it seems like that was really like
there's no
putting
way.
like yeah.
I have to think that of all the things that they've done,
Hmm.
um that, have gone through and they've done them, I have to think that you get to this, and if you don't know that there is like a very clear fail safe for you to not die, that you're not doing this. Uh like
Right.
so yeah, I think that your theory that the rope was not long enough for them to ever crash to their death, but like it looked like they could like hit
Hmm.
the rocky
Oh, they could have got
cliffside thing
messed up
too.
for sure. For sure, that could
If
have
they
happened.
swung too much, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't really understand the physics of it, but essentially, the person at the bottom is in charge of when your drop
Right.
stops, and they have to do it at a certain point.
And so Scaramucci is up on top of the cliff, and he's like asking for instructions on okay, so how do I do this? I'm gonna fall, and they're like, shut up, stop asking questions. Like, oh, like, boy, you can't even like ask a question.
Yeah, like they don't like you asking for clarity. Like you should know how to do this after one terrifying explanation while you're
Mm-hmm.
probably like blacking out from fear.
Yeah.
So asking any clarifying questions,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely not.
And
Don't even think about it.
Scaramucci like falls, right?
Yeah, so while you're getting like so you have to obviously get up to the top of the cliff, and then you have to position yourself off of the cliff with like your feet against it so that you're horizontal. I had to think about
Mm-hmm.
clearly horizontal. And then at a certain point, you're holding onto the rope, and at a certain point you have to like let go and like put your hands behind your head. But I guess what happened was like while Scaramucci was like trying to like get himself into position, he like his feet like lost footing, and he like smashed into like the rock face. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
even just getting into the position you needed to be in was like treacherous for a few people. Like, he wasn't even the only person that like had a little stumble there. So I think he like bashed his little helmet head against
Mm-hmm.
the rocks.
Yeah,
It's
because
like
then
not
the
a good
next person
start.
went, they said ignore the blood on the cliff.
It's like,
This old Hannah Brown, ignore the
oh, no,
blood.
no big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. And so Scaramucci, he ends up doing it. And I guess Gus waited too long to pull the rope.
Yeah. So it was
We
hard to
almost
tell
lost
because
the
there was
mooch.
yeah. Well, we saw this clip in the preview last
Yeah.
week, and I was like, "Oh my god,
They
is
just killed
Anthony
Mooch.
Scaramucci falling to his death?"
Mm-hmm.
Because it really looks like that. Because you just see like the shot is just like a body like free falling off of a cliff,
Mm-hmm.
and then it looks at least the angle the camera
Look
got,
bad.
it looks like it's going into like a part of the cliff that's like coming out, like it's
Yeah.
jutting out, and it yeah. But I guess Gus was like who was down at the bottom? I think it was Foxy. Foxy's like, break, 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 break. And I
Mm-hmm.
think Gus maybe wanted him to die. Do you
Maybe.
think
Gus would not have minded if
Gus was like, this is
Scaramucci
not the
died.
worst? Yeah.
But ultimately, okay, it was close, but you know, that you almost killed Scaramucci. But you guys don't like each other, you gotta work together. This
Yeah.
is what war is. No place for
This
resentment.
guy, this guy almost killed you, but you know what?
Mhm.
You're just gonna have to continue to trust him.
Yeah. Next up was Hannah Brown and Mike Piazza. Now again, I
Yeah.
can't imagine that then they had Mike Piazza jump off the thing and Hannah Brown was like pulling the rope for him.
Yeah, I don't know how they were deciding. Well, I guess in this situation, you know, because Hannah didn't trust Mike, so she had to trust like,
Yeah.
I
What is she,
think
a
that's how
Yankee
they were
fan? What's her
deciding it.
problem? Yeah.
But, like, what happened if no one said that you, yeah, because I
Maybe you
feel
didn't have
like
to do it. Maybe you had immunity.
yeah, because we didn't see anyone with Carly, like, Carly and Danny Amendola, I didn't s oh, no, wait. Did we see them do anything? I don't think we did. So,
Hmm.
I don't know. I wish that you could game it. Just be like, figure it out, and then you don't even have to do this terrifying exercise. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I guess that was the decision was Mike didn't say Hannah. Hannah said Mike. So Hannah's the one that goes up because she has to trust Mike to not let her die, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. But
Okay.
again, in the situation where Mooch and Gus say each other, how do they decide who's doing what? Like I don't know. I just would
We
have
don't
liked
know.
a little bit more insight on the
Maybe when we do the
process.
deep dives on
Yeah.
everybody. Okay. So we get Dwight Howard and Danny Amendola. And this is a little uneventful, other than that Dwight Howard like screams on the way down
Yeah.
and he gets in so much trouble.
Okay. And again, so why were these two together? They didn't say each other.
Look,
I
Jenny,
don't understand.
you're not supposed to ask questions.
See,
It's for
they
us
would.
to know. Stop asking. We know what we're doing. Stop second guessing us.
And that is why I would not last a second on this show,
Mhm.
because I love a dumb question. I love
Mhm.
it. And I also love to have fun. I would be Dwight Howard. I would be like,
Yeah.
let's have some fun here. And yeah, so he screams like he's like on a roller coaster because he's like
Mhm.
free falling.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes a natural reaction to
Yeah.
a free
Oh,
fall.
I'm falling off a cliff. I'm gonna scream. Okay, like no, you ruined the task. You stop doing that.
Billy hates it the most too. Like Billy's up at the top and he's like Dwight is free falling. He's like, "You're screaming like you're on a fun fair." Like he's so pissed.
Yeah, and Remy gave one of his classic lines. He's like, "That's it. Now you got to pay the man."
Yeah. So so Remy had like a Dr. Seuss moment where he was like, what did he say? He was like, "So, oh yeah, you did that. So now you gotta pay the man, and the the man you pay is who I am, or so. Or no, what did he say? And the man to pay I am." Like, what is
Okay,
Remy? Okay.
okay.
Um,
You want to get
and
back to your Dr. Seuss books?
yeah. You're one fish, you're two fish, you're
One-
red fish, you're
yeah.
pink fish, blue.
Hmm.
No, so I guess they punish Danny and Dwight for this. So this is like the big message. It's
Yeah.
like you mess up, you're letting your team down. So both Danny and Dwight have to do burpees. And
Burpees,
then like
yeah.
they kept making them restart because Dwight was like barely like jumping up.
Well, it seems like Dwight Howard didn't know what a burpee was.
Which is weird because like you'd think as like a
Maybe
professional
he never
athlete
had to
has
do them before.
I've done burpees, Rob.
Well, yeah, I know what they are.
I mean, isn't he like around my age? Did he not do them in gym class? Like I feel like
Maybe he was like such a good athlete that they were never like they
they're like,
fired the
sorry,
coach if he
yeah.
tried to make Dwight Howard do burpee drill.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it didn't look like he was familiar with burpees, or maybe he just was like pretending that he didn't know how to do them so that he could get away with not doing them well.
So we get Kenya and Beverly, and this is
Ooh.
the kind of weird stuff where Kenya is very willing to do the fall, but Beverly is kind of like freaking out. And so afterwards, staff is asking, like, all right, did everybody like make up with the people? And Kenya's like, I gotta be honest. This went backwards for me today.
Yeah, because so they get through it. I mean, Bev was freaking out beforehand. Like, you
Hmm.
would have thought that she was the one doing the fall, but what she was worried about was letting her down. She didn't trust that she
Yeah,
was
he was
going to do
gonna
it
let her
properly.
down way too fast.
And I get it. Like, I would be terrified of that too. It's like, okay, it's one thing if I'm making a bad decision for myself and my own safety, but like the idea that I could mess up and really hurt someone, that's way more stressful. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so she's like freaking out, and like Kenya's like, just you need to get it together, just do it. And then they had like an interaction afterwards where I think Bev was still just like really shaken up from the whole experience. And
Sure.
I don't know, like, did Dwight say something and then Kenya got mad and was like, stop trying to make me out to be the villain?
I feel like
um
that Beverly was the one that was like she felt like was trying to make her be a villain. It was weird what was
it was
between Beverly.
confusing.
It was like that. I think Beverly was saying there's something about you, Kenya, that's bringing this out in me, and then Kenya's like, I hate when people do that and make me out to be
Mhm.
the villain.
They're
So
very different people, because
yeah.
that's the thing is like, like Kenya's very stoic and Beverly is wearing every emotion on her face at all
Mm-hmm.
times. And the emotion is usually pain and terror.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think that I mean it was probably very frustrating for Kenya as well, because like Kenya even says, she's like, my biggest fear is heights, and I'm going up on this thing and I am pretending it doesn't even phase me. Um and she's the one doing the scary thing, which is like doing a free fall and trusting someone to like not let them die. And even afterwards, Beverly is acting like it was the most terrible experience of her life. And so I think
Yeah.
that that's probably pretty annoying for Kenya being like, Jesus, woman, get it together.
The whole thing was weird.
It
I
was
don't know
weird.
what it is
Weird
about
energy.
Kenya that is triggering something in Beverly and making her act weird.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
And then it seems that Beverly is like triggering Kenya back because she, it's like clearly like a victim thing where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, if you're acting like the victim, then by default, then I'm the bad guy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the staff is like, all right, figure it out. What's going on? Well, and they're like, what's going on with Kenya Moore? Like, there's a squabble going on. Let's pull her in. So they
Hmm.
put the bag on Kenya Moore's head and they bring her in, and they've got a laptop. And they're going to do some research because they're special forces. They have access to like the world's top intelligence. And they're
They have
like,
one laptop.
yeah, it's like apparently she was on a show called The Real Housewives of Atlanta. It's a very popular show.
They have like a TMZ article up or something that's
Mm-hmm.
like Kenya Moore is tired of being the villain. But then like
Mm-hmm.
so they have like this very like benign like headline article that they pull up on their laptop. But then when they bring her in, I think it might have been Rudy.
Yeah.
Um he he's either seen the show because he acts like he really knows what he's talking about, or he read like two articles and has made
Mm-hmm.
his own like decision and
Yeah.
about how she's portrayed.
He's like, how come on TV you're angry, aggressive, vindictive, petty? Like,
Yeah.
sir, have you ever seen The Real Housewives? Like, that's kind of what the
That's
show
what
is.
it's yeah. That
Yes.
you're not going to be on the show if you're just a pleasant non-confrontational person.
Mm-hmm.
Uh but also it's just like what a way to start a conversation where it's just like, yeah, so you act all of these terrible ways on this show. Explain
Mm-hmm.
why you're like
Yeah.
that.
Why you like this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Kenya tells the whole story about how she had troubles as a child. Her mom didn't want her, her grandmother did want her, but
Yeah.
then her mom kept her.
So it
She's not
sounded
gonna be
like
that kind of mom. Yeah.
her parents were like teen, like it was like a teen pregnancy situation. So it sounded like the grandmother like kind of maybe unofficially
Hmm.
adopted her, and then the mom just like went on with her life as if she didn't ever have a kid, where she was like, "Wow, my mom bailed me out and now I can
Hmm.
just like move on with my life." So that like obviously messed her up a little bit. So we see Kenya getting emotional. She's talking about how, now she had a daughter only 3 years ago, and now her whole life is about like giving
Hmm.
her the mom that she never had and all of that. So yeah, we're seeing actual emotion from Kenya, which we have not seen basically at all this entire show. Um, and so her explanation is that she's built up a shield, I guess,
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
of the pain she experienced as a child.
Yes. Well, Kenya Moore is doing great. She's making it to
She's
the end.
they love her. Like they so there's a few types of people that the special forces guys don't like. They don't like if you are chatty, making jokes, having fun. So they hate the Dwight Howards, the Anthony Scaramucci. Like you're
Hmm.
talking too much, you're cracking jokes, you're trying to have a good time. They hate the ultra confident, like show off kind of guy. So they hate Gus. Like Gus is like doing somersaults. Like you think you're, hot shit. Like they hate that guy. And then they hate the very, very emotional woman that does not believe in herself and is like lacking confidence. So that your Beverly Mitchell, your Jamie Lynn Spears at points, they were kind of getting mad at her. Your Kate Gosselin's, like they hate that person. Um, but they love Kenya because Kenya is like she's just solid. Like she was
Hmm.
literally doing something that was terrifying to her and she's just like a badass.
She could
So,
be Real Housewives of the Special Forces.
yeah, and I will tell you like the world's toughest thing on this show is Kenya Moore's eyelashes. They
Oh,
I don't understand. So they're definitely like extensions, or they have to be eyelash extensions. Um, but she's like having like the bag pulled off of her. She's going into water. Like all
it's
the
a good
stuff that's
point.
happening, her lashes are still intact. It blows my mind. I don't understand what technology is behind these fibers that
She's
are
doing it.
attached to, but that is the true the toughest thing of this whole show is not just Kenya, it's her eyelashes.
Hmm.
I don't understand how they've survived. What is this, day 4?
It's through day
How's this
4. Yeah.
how's this only day 4? Oh my god.
Okay. All right. Next day. Okay. Um, we are going to see Scaramucci, and again, he is discombobulated. His
Mhm.
words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's having a hard time. He's, like, dehydrated, and then,
Mike
like
Piazza's trying to give him shorts.
yeah, I didn't really understand this. Like, he was like, "Oh, do you want my I got extra shorts." And, Scaramucci's like, "No, I couldn't. I'm too much of a team player. I can't take those shorts from you."
Why?
Which is like it was giving like the nice guy that's like really insisting that he's like a nice guy. And it's because he's not.
Hmm.
So it's like the if you have to tell me that you're a team player, if you're like, "Oh, I'm just such a team player, I couldn't possibly take that."
Yeah.
Mm, maybe you're not so much of a team player. I think
Yeah.
that you're
And
really trying to sell this.
they have to go, and it's like everybody's like trying to get Scaramucci dressed and like help
Yeah.
him with his
Buckle up
backpack
his
and
Bergen, like, his ruck.
getting him all strapped
His
in.
ruck is a muck.
Yeah. For very amok.
Yeah.
Okay. Jenny, it's time for the next task.
Oh
Today,
boy.
we're behind enemy lines, and we're gonna get into 2 teams, Team Alpha and Team Bravo.
Mhm.
Okay. Team
And yeah,
Alpha is gonna be led by the Mooch.
yeah,
Team Bravo is gonna be led by Beverly.
yeah. So they purposely pick the 2 that
The
are,
worst people.
the weakest, and it's explained to us that when they do this, it's not to bully these people, it's to give them an opportunity to prove themselves.
Mhm.
So, this is their time to shine.
Yeah.
No one trusts you, they don't believe in you, you're weak. Well,
Yeah.
guess what? Now's your opportunity to step up.
And this challenge involves that they are allegedly behind enemy lines. There's like a army vehicle that is disabled, doesn't work. They need you to push this car like through the desert. And
It
then
has,
after
like,
you do that,
supplies in it,
then yeah, carry the supplies to a certain point.
and they
Okay.
had like they climb, like it was like a hill, but it was, like,
Hmm.
very rocky. I don't know. I didn't really understand what they
Yeah.
were climbing.
Okay, so they needed the leaders to really like be assertive and like direct their team. Neither of them were doing so. Beverly was like incapacitated from the jump, and then Scaramucci was on his feet, and they kept yelling at him like, "You're not leading. You need to be giving orders. Lead your team. Give them orders. Encourage them." And Scaramucci's like, "All right, everybody, let's take 5. Let's
Yeah.
take a break. Everybody, break time." And like,
Yeah,
no,
we're
no,
already
stop
at
telling
lunch.
them to take a break.
My assistant's gonna go to Panera. Does anyone want anything? You want the soup in the bread bowl? You want the bread bowl? We
All
can get
right,
coffee if
yeah,
you want.
let's take a quick timeout.
Yeah, we don't need to keep pushing this vehicle. Let's
No.
like
Mm-hmm.
there it's screaming at literally telling him what he needed to do differently. And he's just
Mm-hmm.
like,
Yeah.
it's not for me.
And then Beverly is supposed to be leading the other team, and she is like literally like on the ground.
Yeah,
She says she's
she's
gonna pass out, and they're yelling at
struggling.
her.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but like at some point, the rest of her team, I think, was just like continuing to
They
push
just
the
said give up.
vehicle. And then
Yeah.
she's just like she's toppling over. It looks like she's just done that like Big Brother competition where you do like the spinner, what is it called?
Ballerina.
Ballerina, yeah. It looks like she just came off Ballerina and she's like swerving. Like this was wild to me, Rob. The
Yes.
absolute lack of empathy that was exhibited in this moment where this woman might have been like about to faint because
Mm-hmm.
she couldn't stand up. She wasn't wearing her Birkin.
Yeah.
She was not she wasn't wearing anything that was going to cause her to be top heavy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
She straight up could not stand. She was
Mm-hmm.
in rough shape and like they're like I can't remember which one it was. Foxy, I think. He was just like, "What are you doing? Like
Yep.
you're either doing the task or
Or
not."
you're
And she's
not.
just like, "Oh my gosh."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, and then like she finally they're basically just being like, "Well, are you quitting? Are you quitting?" She's like, "I don't know. I can't even see straight right now." Like,
Mm-hmm.
imagine trying to make that decision in that moment. I
Yeah.
don't know. It was
And then
wild.
ultimately, that she hands in her badge, hands in her armband, and they say to her, "You did well." Like, what? Since when?
It was a good effort.
It was a good effort.
Um, yeah, like Foxy carries her off to the side, like by her arm, as if she was like being arrested or something. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
what is
Take
happening
her
here?
out of
This is
here. Get
so,
her out of my
yeah.
sight.
And then it was like she's finally going, they're like, it was a good effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, what is it? Are you shouting at her? It's like, I don't,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
very confusing.
She looked like she was headed to seventh heaven.
Seriously, I was like, okay, if this was Survivor, the
Y-
medic was called in immediately. The fact that this
Medic.
woman was like falling over and like clearly,
Mm-hmm.
exhausted or dizzy or not well physically. And they're like, "Oh, so you're gonna quit? You're gonna quit?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, I just feel like maybe you should make sure she's okay. Like, we saw them give medical attention to other people. Why was it in this moment that they're like, "Oh, you little baby, you're gonna quit?
Well, I
You
don't know
wanna
if
go
anybody else
home?"
needed medical attention like during the middle of a task.
Well, I mean, with Kate Gosselin, like, I think they were
But
still
that was
doing
after, yeah, but
she
she
had
had already
gone,
completed her part.
I guess. I don't know. It just seemed extra harsh to me, but I am a soft little baby bitch, so I don't know.
Let's talk about Team Alpha. Scaramucci's crew. Scaramucci is failing to take command. He's giving, encouraging comments like, "All right, let's pace ourselves, everybody.
Don't wanna tire
Slow
yourself
down."
out.
Yeah, yes.
There
And
was
he's
a
at the
point
back of the
where
pack.
yes, he was at the back of the car, and I could just tell. You know when you, like, see a group of people, like, carrying something together or, like
Hmm.
like, a tug of war type, like, situation, and you can just look at someone and you're like, "You're doing the least."
Yes.
I could just tell that he was not putting his whole body into the push. Like, I could see Hannah Brown
Yeah.
just, like, definitely
Doing way
picking up
more.
the slack from Mooch. Like, he was not
Yeah.
so he wasn't encouraging, but he also just wasn't physically helping either. He was just
And
there.
the team is just basically like going without him. And
Yeah.
like Gus is like yelling at him. And then they're saying that that's bad because that Gus is delegating the leader on what to do.
Yeah, so the wild thing that happened was the teams were already uneven. So we had
Mhm.
9 people to start. Um,
The other team's leader
Alpha
quit during the
Alpha
challenge.
had 5, and then Bravo had 4, and then Bev left in the middle of it. So then they went down from 5 to 3, and the team with 3 people with just Dwight, Kenya, and Danny, I believe, they
Mhm.
finished before the other team. So Gus was not happy about this and was like, "You didn't lead, you didn't delegate," and then they got in trouble for, like, hashing it out in front of the other team, I guess. It's like, you don't wanna
Mhm.
show the weakness to the enemy or something, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So ultimately, Team Bravo, even though their leader quit, they complete the task first.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Team Bravo.
Bravo to
Uh,
them,
bravo to
indeed.
them.
Yeah.
Yes. Now we which was appropriate because Kenya Moore is from Team Bravo.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
good job by her. Okay. So we saw like some like talking in the van, and we saw, was it Carly and Hannah that they were
Yes.
like, oh, I feel so bad that ultimately Beverly left. Also, like, can you believe the mooch? What a loser.
What was he doing?
Yeah, what's his problem?
Yeah. And then in a separate car, which I believe was Mooch, Mike Piazza, and Gus,
Mhm.
the three amigos, of course. Uh, like Mike Piazza, Mooch's biggest fan, just being like, you know what? I love you, man. I love you so much. You did great. Like
Yeah.
everyone agrees that Mooch did a terrible job leading, but
Mike
Mike
Piazza's
Piazza
so
is still
positive.
he is.
Mhm.
He but only for only
Mr.
for the Mooch.
Sunshine. Yeah.
Yeah. He, like Gus is just sitting in the back seat, like listening to this, being like, Jesus.
I
Like
guess
what
when you've been on the Mets for so many years, I guess you've seen much worse than this. This is like
you've had
nothing.
to encourage, you've just had to like tell someone that they're doing a good job if they aren't.
Okay. So staff, they have it out for Mooch. He's a terrible leader. People would not follow him to the bathroom.
Except for
Which
Mike
in
Piazza.
fairness, yeah, somebody in this episode literally did follow him to the
Yeah.
bathroom. So I don't know if
But
that's
are they
quite
saying
right.
that, even in a situation where, it's the rule to follow them to the bathroom, they would never do that?
Yeah. Okay.
I would
Well,
yeah, I would not follow anyone to the bathroom. Weird.
well, some
Shouldn't do
people are
that.
already doing it. All right, get him in here. Get him in here. All right.
Here we
And
go.
so they're gonna start to grill Scaramucci, but he's been a White House press secretary. He's used
He
to
can
tough
handle the heat.
questions.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They ask him, what's your grade that you give yourself?
They didn't even ask him for a grade. This was the best part where they're like, "How do you think you're doing on this so far?" And he's like, staff, permission to speak." What did he say? Like, the permission to speak candidly. And
Yeah.
they're like, "Okay." And he's like, I love what I'm doing. A B plus? B
Yeah.
plus?
Yeah. Okay. B plus.
Billy hates this so much. I I believe the quote was, "Don't get smarmy," I think is what he said, "because
hmm
I'll effing bounce you around this room," which at this point I would love to see.
Yeah. And
Literally,
they're
like, threatening violence
yeah.
on this man.
They're asking him like what's your deal? What's going on? He's like, all right, look, I made a lot of money. Okay. That I raised money for Senator Obama. Like, and they're like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah. It was like him giving his resume and like how he made it to the point he's at in his like career, and but basically being like, I'm not going to pretend that I had it hard. I did this, I did that. I made more money than I even imagined. And it's like he's just trailing off onto this, tangent about his successes. And these guys are just looking there like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, what
Yeah.
does this have to do with anything?
Yeah. Like, yeah. Why are you here? And he's like, I'm somebody. I love my country. I got a lot of empathy for people that are like, well, like, yeah, really, no, seriously, why are you here?
Yeah. What
What
are
are you
you
doing?
doing?
Yeah. For a guy
uh
who has a lot of money, boy, you're being on a lot of like cheapo reality shows.
yeah. You'd think that you'd be out of this one immediately. Like you don't
hmm
need this money. You don't need this paycheck
Like,
apparently.
I feel like Bill Gates doesn't show up on a lot of like celebrity reality shows.
Okay, but it would be cool if that happened.
I
I
guess
like
so.
I think that would be funny. Like that's what we need. Like imagine Bill Gates.
But bring him in here. Put the bag on his head. Bill,
They could do it
what
with
is
Bezos
this? Look at
too.
this.
Like
Yeah. Look at this computer. Look at this. Look at this computer.
it's not as good
It's
as
a
a
Mac.
Mac.
It's a Mac. Yeah.
You couldn't do this, could you?
Yeah. Look at this. Look at this. No viruses. Yeah. Okay. So they're saying that they might just throw him out. They might just throw Scaramucci out of this thing.
Which would
he
be
would be happy.
unprecedented, right? Like the
Yeah,
fact, not a medical evacuation, not saying like, sorry, you're not cleared to
you're
continue.
disgusting.
You just
Yeah.
be like, we're annoyed with you and we don't even want to give you the satisfaction of testing yourself further because you are clearly the kind of person that is going to walk away from this and be like, oh, I just did amazing things, and I really just
Mhm.
I gained so much empathy for, the people that serve my country. They're like,
Yeah.
you actually were just like crappy the entire time. Like, get you out of here.
Jenny, they also asked Scaramucci, what was your biggest mistake? And he says, well, I got to say, my biggest mistake was being a part of the Trump White House. I never thought his temperament and mine and the way he was running things, it was never going to work. Like, I thought I was a little surprised because nobody would know who Anthony Scaramucci was if he didn't join the Trump White House.
Right.
His
Yeah.
biggest mistake
Like
might have been coming here.
I think, yeah, what was the big no, like what was worse for him, going on Celebrity Big Brother or going on this show?
Well, he was allegedly a plant on
Oh, yes,
Celebrity Big
a
Brother.
twist, a
Remember?
twisto's twist.
Remember that? Yeah.
Of course, how could I forget? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I certainly, again, I'm a Canadian, so
Mhm.
my understanding of American politics is like slightly filtered through.
Mhm.
But I certainly had no idea who this man was before
Mhm.
his time in the White House, as limited as it was.
Nobody knew who he
So,
was.
but maybe people in the biz did, you know?
What biz?
The politics biz.
No, he wasn't even in politics. He was
What
like a
didn't he what
business guy.
he raised money for Senator Obama.
Yeah,
He
but he
had to have
wasn't like
been
a
involved. I don't
politician. I
know.
guess he knew politicians.
Is he a business owner?
I think he has like a part of like a hedge fund, like an investment
Oh.
fund. Yeah.
But he will apparently made more money than he even
Knew
knew
what to
was
do with. Yeah.
possible. So,
Yeah. So,
um, but maybe that's a mistake. Maybe his notoriety is a curse to him.
mhm.
Maybe he
Yeah.
doesn't like that he's on a television show. He really just wanted to do this. That must be it,
Maybe.
right? He
Maybe.
definitely did not want the attention that this was going to bring him.
Okay. So Jenny, after his encounter with the staff,
Mhm.
Scaramucci does a confessional, and I'm a little confused about what
Oh,
he's talking about here.
thank you, Rob.
Okay.
I have brackets with question mark.
Yes.
So let's try and
Yes.
figure this out
Let's
together.
let's listen in on what Scaramucci is talking about here.
Okay.
Okay.
If you get punched in the face or metaphorically knocked to the ground like I did with a White House firing, you can do two things. You can slink into anonymity or you can go forward and own it.
And beyond about just reality shows.
Yeah,
Okay.
own it.
All right.
That's owning
Okay.
it.
But here's the part that's very confusing to
Yes.
me.
You have to power up and say, hey, I'm getting up tomorrow morning and I'm going to eat the off of an elephant.
Okay. I'm going to get up tomorrow morning and I'm going to eat the off an elephant. Okay. Jenny,
Oh my goodness,
what
Rob.
is that? Okay.
Like,
Bump, 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 bump.
I mean, am I going to lose the final HOH or something if I get this wrong?
Yes.
I truly am trying to figure out, like,
Let's
he
give the context to the audience one more time.
Anonymity,
Okay.
or you can go forward and own it.
Okay.
You have to power up and say, hey, I'm getting up tomorrow morning and I'm going to eat the off of an elephant.
okay.
I'm gonna eat the bleep
So
off
they're
of an elephant.
they're bleeping it for a reason. This isn't just what the bleep, like the classic Big Brother competition where they just pick any word. They have to have been bleeping this for a reason. It's not a word that you can say on television, correct?
Okay, right, and that sort of limits us to
Okay.
body parts of an elephant.
It might not even be body parts.
Or
What
yes.
what if there's just something resting on the elephant? It is also a swear word, but it's not a body part of the elephant.
But this is like password. Something that's resting on an elephant that's not part of it. Like on top of it?
Yeah, like maybe like resting, or maybe like resting on its trunk.
Well, what would be resting on its trunk?
I don't know. Is the only swear word body parts? I don't think so, right?
Well, it's the F word doesn't make
No.
sense in this context. I think that I think is he
Ass?
saying that he would well, it's either the
Eat
butt
yeah.
or the wiener
The
of an elephant.
I'm gonna eat. Okay.
I'm gonna eat the wiener of an elephant. Oh, listen to him.
Okay, let's go.
Where you can go forward and own it. You have to power up and say, hey, I'm getting up tomorrow morning and I'm going to eat the off of an elephant.
I feel like not enough time to say wiener there.
I think he said, I think he said ass.
Yeah, because it sounds like
but why
it's
did
like
they
a
bleep
vowel
that?
sound at first at the
Yeah.
beginning of the word. So it's like, you know?
Yeah. Did he say a hole?
That might be it. Because I feel like it's too long. It's too long to just be ass, right?
I'm gonna eat the a hole off an elephant.
Off of it, like what does this mean? Even if this is what like
you have to power up and say, hey, I'm getting up tomorrow morning and I'm going to eat the off of an elephant because.
Can you do that?
I feel like
what do you have against elephants, sir?
Yeah. I mean, also is
this an expression?
Is this a thing?
I'm not gonna Google it.
Well, apparently you need to power up to do it.
Power up to
you gotta power up. You gotta get up, power up, and eat the a-hole off an elephant.
Yeah.
Can somebody help us with this? Is this a thing? Is this an expression?
I don't know. Should I look at an incognito window?
Did he learn this from Trump? Is this a grab them by the you know what? Is that where you picked this up? Like I could just see Trump
Billy
being
Bush.
like, we're gonna get powered up and eat the a-hole off an elephant. And then we're gonna make America great again.
If he said that he was gonna eat the butt off an elephant, would they bleep that at Fox?
I don't know. Have we heard them say that word? They've bleeped other stuff. They're definitely swearing. Billy swears a lot.
Yeah.
He's gonna effing bounce them around the room. Eat the blank, like eat the. I think the alliteration of eat the the ass off the elephant.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that this was a thing. Are you in your incognito window? Have you gotten any
so
information?
it looks like
well, no, it looks like. What are you looking at?
No, I'm looking at some that maybe so it's used in a couple different ways. Okay. That there is it looks like there's a couple different articles that are sort of profiling people.
What?
And yeah, and it seems like that maybe the expression is that you could chew the ass off an elephant.
Okay. So, do you think that
I see two different articles? Yeah, I think so because it's actually two different women, and both of them, or actually they're I'm sorry, both are. Maybe this is the same article. They're talking about a woman named Gloria who looked like she could chew the ass off an elephant.
That sounds okay. So, chewing the ass off an elephant to me says like you are scrappy, because if you are gonna go and bite the behind of a giant animal, then that maybe suggests that you're tough and is that really what we're getting to? But like I think I will say the difference of eat and chew here I think is actually important, because
here's another
the imagery of chewing like I don't know, that there's something a little bit more like I'm gonna chew you up and spit you out. Like, it's a little bit more, seems more of like an idiom to me. Not idiom. Like, I don't
There's
know.
another article where it looks like that somebody says that somebody looks like he could bite the ass off an elephant.
Again, that seems like
Mhm.
a more of like an aggressive, like, like, whereas like eating ass,
Off an
like,
elephant.
he's talking about eating an elephant's ass. I just think that goes in a different direction than he's probably intending.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what he's trying to talk about. Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna give him a little bit of the sass.
Yeah.
A little bit of this
Said the elephant.
ass.
Said the elephant. Okay. So well, let's see if Scaramucci, what he's up to next.
We'll see what he's chomping on.
Yeah. Better the elephant than Dwight Howard, from what I hear.
I don't know. Like, you've seen the elephant dung.
Elephant
big.
dung. Yes.
Exactly.
So Scaramucci gives himself a pep talk. And then we see everybody like go through Beverly's bag. I guess because she's gone. I guess they get to keep her stuff.
Yeah, which like it seems like they're stripped of all of their personal items. So I didn't really understand the concept of like there's something good in her bag, but like apparently there was like peppermint in it. They're like, let's keep the peppermint. And when we smell peppermint, we'll think of Beverly. Which, like, does she have like peppermint essential oil? Does she have literal peppermints, like a breath mint? What do you think that they were referring to?
I don't know. I'm imagining like some sort of like essential oil or something like that they were able to like
a thing that they're allowed. Is
I
that
don't know.
contraband?
That seems like contraband to me.
Yeah. I mean, Mel B got cigarettes in somehow. She was smoking them. They still didn't kick her out.
Yeah.
So
they don't care.
I just like, I don't know. And then it made me think, okay, I kind of get peppermint patty vibes from Beverly.
Whoa.
She's a little bit of a peppermint patty. Maybe not.
I can see it. Maybe she could play peppermint patty in a movie.
No, I think peppermint patty is way more likely to chew the ass off an elephant than Beverly would. Beverly is going nowhere near the ass of the elephant. Absolutely not.
I could see it. All right, and that's Special Forces episode 4. Looks like next time out, looks like there's going to be some more dissension in the ranks.
Yeah, I think so this episode we finally got to hear from the mooch. This was all Scaramucci basically, with a side of Beverly, side of Kenya. So getting some more about characters that maybe didn't have as much of a storyline before. I think this next episode's looking like it's going to be a lot of Danny Amendola. We haven't really gotten a lot from him thus far.
His profile episode. Yeah, it looks like in the preview, maybe he might want to quit.
Yeah, it looks like he's in the car and he's like trying to rip off his armband, and he's like, I think staff are yelling at him. I don't really know what's going on. It looks like there's gonna be some sort of like simulated war situation. I'm stressed already.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens next time out on Special Forces.
Yeah.
World's toughest test. It's been a very tough test.
Elephant's colon.
Yes, elephant's colon. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
What do we do? 10 minutes on chew the ass off an elephant?
That was the most important part of the episode, Rob.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that you picked it up, because when I was watching it at that point, I watched the first part where I was watching with headphones. So when you have the earbuds in, you could hear things a little bit better. Yeah. And at this point of the episode, it's free coming out of the computer. And I was like, am I just not hearing well? Should I know what he's saying here? Is this a thing? No, you're just as confused as I am. We don't know what this is.
The bleep off an elephant. We learned something new.
Yes. You know what? Fox is truly the learning channel, actually.
Yes. Well, the Learning Channel is where we learned all about the MILFs that we
Oh,
talked about at the
boy.
top of the show, MILF Manor.
I'd
Which
love
I
to
feel like
unlearn that.
I feel like is it like we were the first on the scene? I feel like that more it's like becoming like newsworthy. I feel like there's like more and more, like news articles being written about like
It was, like, trending, at least on my Twitter, it was, like, trending for, like, a full 24 hours afterwards, like,
yeah.
I think
I see
even
a
yesterday it was still showing trending.
yeah, well, I see an article from The Guardian today. Is MILF Manor the queasiest new dating show on TV? Like,
I mean
have you heard of Special Forces: World's Toughest Test? Have you heard about Farmer Wants a Wife?
You rank those as more queasy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Take it
so
queasy.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Take it queasy. All right. Jenny, what else is coming up for you?
Absolutely nothing. I'm again still recovering from what I witnessed at the
Oedipus
MILF
apartment
Manor.
complex?
Yes,
Yeah.
at Oedipus's apartment complex. I'll never forget it. It will haunt me forever.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna find a way to you know, say that I would eat the ass off an elephant in regular day conversation. You think I can work that in the office? You think
I
that's
mean,
the thing I could say?
try it at home first.
I'll try it on Phil first and
Mhm.
see how he feels about
See
it,
how he
and see
reacts.
see how yeah, see if
Mhm.
he's as confused as we were.
Mhm. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, other than that, just loving these little weekly check-ins with our
Yeah.
friends, with
It's
Remy and Rudy and Foxy and
Billy.
Billy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The core four.
Yeah.
All right. And so we also wrapped up our coverage of The Circle season 5. So check that out on robbinswebsite.com. I'll be back with our coverage of Tough as Nails coming up on Thursday. We also dropped another Survivor interview with Owen Knight as well.
Ooh.
So check that out all on robhasawebsite.com. Thank you so much for joining us for another chat talking about Special Forces: World's Toughest Test. Actually, should I check the Apple Podcast Store? Or you think anybody's leaving us reviews
I
about
don't
Special
know.
Forces? Okay.
We
Let's
don't have
just
an emoji that we've asked them to use. Maybe
okay,
the
give us the
elephant.
elephant
Yeah,
emoji.
yeah, if you're still
That's
here,
officially the
give us the
emoji
elephant
for this
emoji.
show.
Yes,
Yes, okay.
100%.
Yes. All right. So let me see. And ratings and reviews. Okay. And let's see. Most recent. No, no Special Forces reviews yet.
Wow.
Yes. Oh,
Well,
maybe.
get
Oh,
them
well,
in.
you know what? Maybe they're putting them in our Special Forces podcast feed. Go to
Oh,
robbinswebsite.com/special forces. I'm looking in the Robinson Podcast main
main
feed,
feed.
maybe in our
Okay.
Special Forces podcast feed. Let me see. Okay. Special Forces : World's Toughest Test. Let's see.
World's toughest podcast.
Let me see if I can find our podcast about Special Forces. I guess there's a lot of Special Forces podcasts, but not about the
Oh.
world's toughest test.
Oh,
Okay.
I was gonna say, what? Do we have ops?
Yes.
And
Yes.
not special
Okay.
ops.
All right. Let's see. Special Forces : World's Toughest Test. What is the point of this show? Is it good? Why am I watching this? This show is by far the worst thing Rob and Jenny have ever watched. I'm definitely checking out of the show, but I'm not checking out of the podcast. I really don't know how Rob and Jenny keep going, but I appreciate them so much because
Aw.
well, Elizabeth, it's because we're tough enough to chew the ass off an elephant.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us for our Special Forces World Toughest Test recap. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.